as he goes after Ovechkin.
This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
As he goes after Ovechkin. Official invitation.
Ooh, that's nasty. That's unfortunate. Do you think either one of those two guys harbor any like ill will against referees or officials?
Yeah, I loved our game, but I'm not going to talk about the refs.
Just joking. That's supposed to be a joke. But after a game like that one, and being a Habs fan, you kind of know what that referee feels like. Except instead of Xhekaj and Kastelik, it's goals against and bad calls. Let's talk about it.
Here's Pirna.
This was a different one. It's as if they're trying to figure out new and exciting ways to disappoint me. But wait, there was disappointing parts to this game, but there was also really good things that happened in this game. And although this is a team game, the mistakes of a few can result in the detriment of many. So while there were a lot of great individual efforts, there were a couple of individual mistakes that led into the game that we saw tonight. Before we get into the gameplay, before I show you some clips and tell you about how the game went, I want to thank the community. I want to thank everyone that contributed to the success of the video that I put out yesterday. The comments and the discourse surrounding the game and Kirby Dach, it just made me feel really good. Like there was a lot of individuals that were coming out in support of Kirby Dach, but they were realistic, and there was a lot of critical opinions about what Kirby Dach needs to do and what kind of timelines we should consider. So I thought that was really good. A lot of smart conversation. So I want to invite you, if you're not already part of the community, please subscribe. We'd love to have you. The channel is growing. We're really close to 6,000 subscribers. What are we at? 5,640 right now at this time at 10:43 Atlantic. If you're already subscribed, please like the video. It helps me with search results or watch page stuff. But getting back to the game, start off with the Habs lineup. Up front, of course, we had Caulfield, Suzuki, and Newhook. Newhook maintains that first line spot. He provides a lot of energy. He hasn't really impacted in terms of point production very much, but I'm glad to see him up there. Then we have Slav, Dvorak, Gallagher. Then we have Woh, Dach, Anderson, and finally Heineman, Evans, and Armia rounding out the forwards. On defense, Hudson and Matheson, Struble and Gooley, Xhekaj and Savard, and tonight, Primo in net. Spoilers, Primo is probably the individual that's going to catch the most critical feedback tonight. Matheson, it would probably benefit him as well to stay off social media until he has another 3-point game, I guess. But let's get to that. So it was a Centennial event tonight at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. I have to say, even as a Habs fan, they did a really nice job commemorating. They dropped the puck. There's good energy behind the game. It's starting off fast paced. Both teams are matching the energy. Before commercial break, they show us a video clip of Hudson. Let's just watch it.
Even before the puck drops, this was during the anthem, right at the beginning. He notices, a few of his teammates, guys, got to face the other way. The flag is that way.
So the Habs are doing a good job. They're keeping it in the offensive zone. They get a really good opportunity around the halfway mark. Matheson rings it off the post. But, and this is going to be tough to watch, but Charlie McAvoy strikes first when Primo puts himself out of position and allows the wraparound.
McAvoy with it, holding on around the net. Score!
And then Pastrnak scores.
Great save by Primo. Rebound, and Kiki can't get to it. Pastrnak scores!
Oh yeah, and then Coyle scores.
Pastrnak extends his point streak against the Canadiens to 9 games, and there's a...
So that was all in the first period, but actually that was all in like 2 minutes. They fell apart completely, and Martin St. Louis senses that they're spiraling, so he calls a timeout. If you're reacting to this, you're probably thinking pull Primo. Listen, it's not completely Primo's fault. The first goal, I do think he was out of position, and those 2 other goals, you kind of hope that maybe he would stop one of those shots. But I mean, Pastrnak, Coyle, and he was kind of getting hung up to dry by the defense. But I don't know, you're down 3-0. People are going to look at the goalie. After the timeout, they kind of settle things down a little bit. You feel like control has resumed. Suzuki gets a nice opportunity before the end of the first, but that's going to do it for the first. 3-0 Boston. Second period, it already feels like a different game. The only problem is Mike Matheson decides to let up a really bad giveaway in the offensive zone while on a power play. Charlie McAvoy is going to eat this up, break down ice, and put in a shorthanded goal.
Matheson racing after it, settles it down, and he slides it to the point, but he turned it over to McAvoy. It's McAvoy, short-handed, score!
But where the Montreal Canadiens might have really shown their discouragement in the early part of the season, it looks like they're starting to become better at avoiding complete discouragement and just letting the game go completely off the rails. Because they're fighting, Suzuki gets a nice opportunity. And not long after that, Caulfield strikes.
Suzuki's there for Jacky trying to find some space. However, Jacky puts it on goal. Score!
The heavy work on this one was done by Arber Xhekaj. It's really great to see him get rewarded for this. It's his third assist. He's really been putting in the work lately, and he's been looking good. But then shortly after that, Lane Hutson is called for a trip on Kastelik, and as he's getting caught for that, Xhekaj is laying the body, and a scrum starts along the board. This is where I cut the video from the intro, where Kastelik and Xhekaj are punching the poor linesman. So Hutson gets 2 minutes, Kastelik and Xhekaj both get 2 minutes roughing, but also a 10-minute misconduct. So they're going to go away for a while and let the tempers cool down. We start to see some looser reffing. Suzuki is interfered with. There's no call. Could have been like 2 or 3 opportunities here to make a call, but the refs just let it play out. Not a penalty or anything, but I thought this was kind of funny. And then, of course, Doc is punched in the face. But Doc has been looking okay this game. He's been responsible. He's helping the plays move along. He's getting in the right spots. It's a new day for Doc, and I'm glad that he seems to be over the difficulties he experienced last game. So the period ends. It feels like there's a little bit of a momentum shift for about 21 seconds.
Here come the Bruins in on the attack.
But again, the Canadiens don't let up. 2 minutes after that goal by Coyle, the individual who I highlighted just recently gets a goal, and it's a beautiful shot.
Bob Struble gets it back. Slides it over for Lane Hutson. Right back for Jake Evans. Got across, Heineman scored!
Evans and Hutson get the helper on that one. Hudson's up to 14 helpers. That puts him tied for third in the Calder race in terms of points. It's worth mentioning Heineman is in 10th for points, but 4th for goals. Meanwhile, Hutson, of course, is first for assists. So just like the Sharks, we have 2 players in the Calder race. But after the Heineman goal, they don't stop there. But 4 minutes later,
and that didn't work as Nick Suzuki will bring it back in. Dropped it off, Caulfield waiting, shoots, score!
With an assist from Nick Suzuki on this one. That puts Caulfield at 16. He's tied for third again. So the Canadiens continue putting pressure on. There's parts of the third period where they seem evenly matched. Poor Doc gets high stick again with no penalty called. The Canadiens put one off the post. The play is whistled down even though the puck was still free. I like how Kirby Doc just falls over like a tree. Timber! Another opportunity where Galley is just trying to shovel the puck into the net. I should have mentioned, but Struble did a great job denying Pastrnak on a breakaway.
The third, and now it's Pastrnak coming in.
But with the game coming to a close and the Habs having pulled the goalie, they get a couple of opportunities. The Cole Kepke pots an empty net goal, and that's going to be the end of the game. So this one doesn't look as bad as it does in the headlines. 6-3. Yeah, but a couple of those goals were in a flurry where it seemed like the Canadiens were spiraling. I think if 2 of those goals didn't happen, which is, I think, reasonable if the panic button wasn't hit, this becomes a completely different game. And then more so, Mike Matheson coughing up that breakaway shorthanded goal. I mean, that doesn't happen often. Matheson took it really hard on himself. Here's a soundbite of him after the game.
Non, pas concentration. Je pense que c'est sûr que c'est vraiment frustrant en ce moment, mais je sais que ça, c'est pas la vraie version de moi. Donc, tout que je peux contrôler en ce moment, c'est d'être sûr que je viens prêt pour mardi.
So the bright side of things is a lot of the players played really well. I'm just going to say it plainly. It's not because it's true. If the internet mob wants to blame somebody, I think that the two individuals that are going to get blamed for tonight's game, it's going to be Matheson and Primo. But there was other defensive shortcomings, and it's a team game. Like I said earlier, there were errors made by Matheson and Primo that were kind of hard to ignore, I guess you could say. But just like any game, they could have won more battles in the corners, along the boards, and they didn't. So that's what we're looking at. That's why it's a 6-3 game. Overall, I'm still kind of happy with their performance because they didn't give up. And if I were a fan of Boston, I don't know how hard I would be cheering for this win, but I think you have to cheer pretty hard right now because the team's not looking so hot, and they'll take whatever momentum they can. I hate that the Montreal Canadiens were the ones that had to provide that type of momentum, especially to the Bruins offense, who were struggling. That's going to do it for me, guys. Questions for the comments. I should think about these questions before I hit record. The fun question is going to be, what topic would you like me to cover next? The funner question is, what's your favorite topping on pizza? And the boring question is, who was your standout player from tonight who maybe is an unsung hero? Again, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate all the support that you're throwing my way. It's been incredible. I can't say it enough. Are we going to just continue to grow? Do I have to say this every single video? Something I'm not really going to get exhausted from, to be honest. Like the video, helps me with search results. It helps me with watch page algorithms or whatever. Subscribe if you're not already a whiskey fiend. And as always, I'll see you down below in the comments.